Hi guys, it's Margaret and I'm here to bring you my December TBR. This month I'm going to be a little more ambitious than I was last month because last month I read only like 5 books, not counting audiobooks, and that was because I was doing NaNoWriMo and I didn't want to really commit to reading a whole bunch of books. Although who am I kidding? I could commit to reading a whole bunch of books and I probably still would not read as many books as I committed to reading. So I read The Raven Cycle for the first time. That was so exciting. I really enjoyed it. But going into December is usually the month where I decide that I'm going to kind of finish up any books that I have not finished this year. I like to, if I started a book in a year, I kind of like to finish it that same year. I think a couple of these I probably started last year and I just never got around to finishing. But I have some that I'm going to be finishing, and I have some that I'm going to be reading. First off, I am going through Crown Duel for the umpteenth time. I don't know how many times I've read this, like 3 or 4. I love this series. It's by Sherwood. It's about this girl that her brother decides to lead a rebellion because the king is kind of crap, and they kind of have a claim to the throne. So she and her brother decide that they're going to take over and run the country better than that king can. Only, of course, because it's a book, it doesn't go quite as easily as planned. When do rebellions ever go that easily? So I love this. I love Mel. I love Danric. This is such a good series, and it really is just, it's had such an impact on my writing, and the book I'm working on right now is a little bit like this kind of world, so I really want to finish this before the end of the year. I also want to finish Hidden Figures. I got this from the library when I saw the movie, and then I had to return it because this is a little bit of a heavy read. It takes a while to get through. It's worth every minute of it, but it does take a little bit of time to get through stuff. So it's been taking me longer to read. So I finally just bought it so I could read it, and I'm going to try and finish that. This is going to shock so many people, but I haven't finished the second Magnus Chase book yet. I think I started it, I'm not entirely sure when I started it. But I've been meaning to read it. It's been sitting on my nightstand forever, and I've been at this spot right here for like a million years. So I am going to finish this book this year, probably towards the end of the month, because I also want to read the 3rd book. So depending on how close to the end of the month I finish this, I might start the 3rd one. I might save the 3rd one for January. Who knows? And then, very excited for some of the new books that I want to be reading. I'm picking up manga again, so on the recommendation of a couple of YouTubers, I picked up Orange. I have the 2nd volume coming in for me at the library. It's a manga. It'll take me like a couple of hours to read. The other one is I'm finally getting around to reading Richelle Mead's Vampire Academy. I read the Bloodlines series. I think that's the name of it. I'm not entirely sure. I know it was Adrian and Sydney, and I freaking loved them, and I loved seeing Rose and Dimitri in that series, so I wanted to pick this up and finally read the stinking thing. I saw the movie, which was hilarious, so it's going to be interesting to compare between the movie and the book. She's been assigned to protect this girl who is a really high up in the vampire society, and she's the main character is half vampire. Her name is Rose. I already said that. And so she's assigned to protect Alyssa, who's her friend, she's like a princess. They end up going, because they're vampires, or one of them is a vampire, they go to a vampire academy, obviously by the title, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not entirely sure about this next one, but it has come on the recommendation of a couple of YouTubers, so I figured I would check it out. One of the YouTubers that I watch, actually 2 of them now that I think of it, do kind of an online book club kind of thing, so I figured, why not? Let's pick it up and see what it is. It's similar to Warcross in that you go into this game and you're not in the real world. It also gives, the description at least gives me a lot of Under the Never Sky vibes, which I read earlier this year, so I figured I would love this since I loved both of those. I am currently reading Conjuring of Light by V.E. Scwhab. I started that yesterday, and I love this series so much. I love her books. I don't know why I haven't read more of her books, probably because this is the first series I heard of her with. But I'm going to be reading this month because I've had it forever and it needs to be read. And I also really need to know what happens, okay guys? I need to know what happens to Kel and Lila. I love them so much. And then I've got a couple graphic novels that I'm reading. I want to get through more of the Injustice Gods Among Us series. This is volume 3, no sorry, this is year 3, volume 1. I have volume 2 and year 4 coming in, so I'm gonna get through as much of that as I can. Again, it's a comic book, so this will take me like 2 seconds to, ooh, that's interesting, 2 seconds to read. And then I'm going to be rereading, I love this book so much, I'm gonna be rereading Batman Hush. It's my favorite Batman story ever. And the anniversary edition came out, 15th anniversary. I've been meaning to reread this considering that this has been a really good year for Bruce and Selena, so I figured I should reread this because I love it and it has my 2 faves in it. That's my TBR pile for December. We'll see how many of those I have to get through. Technically, I've already met my Goodreads challenge, which was 80 books. So I'm gonna see how many more books over 80 I can get. We'll see. Let me know, have you read any of these books, or what books are you planning to read in December? I would love to hear from you. I will see you guys later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!